In today's prac, we'll be measuring heart rate and blood pressure over the course of the 25-minute protocol, including 15 minutes of cycling at 3 different work rates, which is identical to the last prac, which focused on ventilation and metabolic processes. In today's prac, we'll be using a much smaller array of equipment to measure these things. Firstly, we'll be using a sphygmometer to measure blood pressure. We'll also be using a finger pulse oximeter, which measures two separate things, both heart rate, as you can see here on the right, and the oxygen saturation of the arterial blood on the left. We'll be providing you with the data that we have collected in these Excel files. And in these templates, you will see the rate and how the frequency of our data capturing. First thing we'll be doing is recording heart rate. Like we did collect heart rate last time, but this time we are going to be recording heart rate in a much more frequent manner, as you can see in the template here. We'll be recording heart rate every 60 seconds in the resting period. And then in the first minute, as we transition from each phase, we'll be collecting heart rate every 5 seconds. So in the first minute of work rate 1, in the first minute of work rate 2, first minute of work rate 3, and in the first minute of recovery, we'll be recording heart rate at great frequency to look at the rate of change as we transition from one state to the next. We'll also be recording heart rate each minute on our way to steady state in each of those remaining time periods. We'll also be taking oxygen saturation recordings every minute across the entirety of the 25 minutes. And we'll record blood pressure, both systolic and diastolic, in the final minute of each of our five-minute periods. So at the end of rests and the final minute of work rate 1, final rate of work rate 2, final minute of work rate 3, and during recovery. Before starting the experiment, we need to have our subjects be all geared up. Firstly, we'll put the blood pressure cuff on the right arm so it is leaning on the table, as you can see here. And then we'll put the pulse oximeter on the index finger of the left hand so it can be accessible to our data recorder on the other side. This will obviously allow our data recorder unhindered access to record heart rate and oxygen saturation across the 25-minute period. When everything is ready, we'll start the clock, and in the final minute of that 5-minute period, we will measure blood pressure. And you can see here that the final number is 102/65 at rest. Once we have that, we will start cycling as we did last week and start the first pedaling at 25 watts. And we'll be recording heart rate every 5 seconds in that first minute at the commencement of exercise. After 9 minutes on the clock, we will take another blood pressure reading. And this time you can see that systolic blood pressure has increased now to be 131 and diastolic is now 82. And you can actually see at the bottom that heart rate has increased as well. We continue to do this. At 10 minutes, we increase the work rate to 50 watts. And then again, we are rapidly recording heart rate every 5 seconds. In the final minute of this 5-minute period at work rate 2, we take another blood pressure reading. And then at the 15-minute time point, we increase the work rate to 75 watts, record heart rate rapidly again for the first minutes of that period. And then at the end of that period, the final minute, we'll take blood pressure again. At the end of both work rates, the subject will stop cycling, and we will again rapidly collect heart rate in that first minute after the subject has stopped cycling. And in the final minute of the 25-minute protocol, we will once again take a blood pressure reading. Once the final readings are taken for both heart rate, oxygen saturation, and blood pressure at the end of 25 minutes, the protocol has finished and the subject's time on the bike comes to an end.